Should athletes be 24/7 role models? In this presentation, I'll be running through a definition of an elite athlete and a role model, then providing arguments for and against this statement. From there, I'll be comparing and contrasting these with a utilitarian and Kantian view, and then finally finishing off with a review and conclusion. Now, an elite athlete can be classified through the main governing bodies in Australia. Now, this starts with the Australian Institute of Sport, can also be classified through their state governing bodies, so the New South Wales Institute of Sport, or through the sports governing body itself. Now, whether that be the NRL, AFL, or ARU, as an example. Now, a role model is a person whose behaviour, example, or success is or can be emulated by others. Now, that's especially younger people. When it comes to it in this day and age with how social media and technology is, everybody can be seen. You might be the smallest player on a team in the NRL, but you might have the least amount of touches, but you're still going to be seen for one action that you do. Now, whether that be run 100 metres and score a try at the very last second, or whether that be something that you've done in the background as well, it's still going to be seen by a lot of people. Now, a lot of role models are also classified as heroes. Now, sports role models can be known as heroes, which are derived from the Greek word meaning person distinguished for courage, fortitude, and deeds. Now, it's that deed section that focuses on the arguments for. A lot of role models in sport do a lot off the field as well as on the field. On the field, they have their specific jobs, whether that be score a try, score runs, things like that. But outside of the sport, in society, they have these deeds that they can do. When it comes to the majority of the deeds that a lot of sports stars are involved with are health promotion, sports promotion, which is basically going into schools, promoting exercise, healthy eating. From here as well, there's been a lot of increased exposure to charities, as a lot of sportsmen and women are getting heavily involved with charities now. One of the major charities that has come from an athlete using their elite status is the Jane McGrath Foundation for Breast Cancer. Now, this is stemmed from Glenn McGrath, one of the Australian greatest cricket bowlers. Unfortunately, his wife passed away due to breast cancer. Using his elite status and his position in society, he managed to come through and create the Jane McGrath Foundation. Now, over the years, this has built up pace, using a lot of different sports stars to promote. And from there, it has also then become its own specific day inside the Sydney Cricket Test. So the third day of the Sydney Cricket Test is the Jane McGrath Day, in which everybody is encouraged to wear pink and come in and support breast cancer. That's probably one of the greatest consequences that has come from somebody using their elite position as a role model to do a lot of good in society. Now, with the increased involvement in sports, health promotion and charities, sports role models have increased visibility on and off the field. Now, this increase in visibility also stems into the arguments against. Now, from there, a lot of sports stars have the belief that family, friends and close social connections should be the role models, not the sports stars. A major example of this is Charles Barkley's Nike Air commercial back in 1993, in which he states, "I'm not paid to be a role model, parents should be the role model," in which it is a very true statement. Parents have that connection, friends, family, all have that connection with a person to help build their character, to build their qualities and their resilience. When it comes to it in society today, we do have access to a lot of information, whether it be YouTube, Google as an example, any inappropriate or unlawful behaviour on or off the field, anybody can see. So if you're a sports star that's, say as an example, Buddy Franklin, kicking 8, 9, 10 goals in a game, every child wants to be him. They want to be as good as him. So they're going to start doing research and looking up Buddy online. If, as an example, he was to go out on a weekend, have a lot of drinks, start to do drugs, that's then going to cause a lot of people to think, well, if he's playing like this, if he's winning like this, then I should be doing that as well. Now, this then comes down into the utilitarian view, so the utilitarian view of consequences. Now, the first statement here is quite true. So it does not matter whether an athlete wants to be a role model or not. When you reach a certain level of visibility, you are a role model whether you like it or not. Now, being in the spotlight does create that focus on the outcomes and consequences of what you do. And stemming from here, you have consequences of your good and your bad deeds. Now, the consequences of your good deeds, now whether that be through sponsorship, so sponsorship into charities, school events, things like that, so going out to schools, like I said, and promoting health and exercise. You're going to create good outcomes from that because you're going to provide a good image to yourself, a good image to the younger generation, and a good image to society because you're out there doing good. Now, from this as well, you then also have bad deeds. Now, these bad deeds come from consequences like going out and drinking, doing drugs and cheating, which is one of the big ones at the moment. So as an example, the Steve Smith and David Warner debacle with the Cricket Australia ball tampering. The consequences that have stemmed from them making this decision, knowing all too well that there are cameras all the way around the stadium, they know that they're broadcasted internationally. To be caught cheating is one of the biggest consequences that they could have, which is not moral at all. It's not moral to cheat, and that consequence has really come back to get them. Following on with this, we have the Kantian view, so the motives behind the actions. Now, elite level athletes are placed under large amounts of pressure to perform from coaching staff, team members, and now with the way social media is, they're placed under a lot of pressure from society. Anybody can get onto Twitter, Facebook, and send these stars messages, in which can create a lot of stress behind them. Now, this then comes back to the motives for the good and the bad deeds. Now, one of the major motives for good deeds is on-field sportsmanship. So you might have somebody who's on another team, they might fall down, they might injure their leg. Now, the game is still going. You have the motivation, you have the inkling to continue playing the game, but you know that there is somebody injured next to you and you need to help. So there's a motive behind that. You need to help, you need to assist someone, you need to have good character. So that's one of the good deeds involved with the Kantian view, so that motive to help, to assist, to be a good person. Unfortunately then, there are a lot of motives, especially behind the pressure, so pressure to succeed. There's a lot of pressure that builds up behind people, and they do get involved with some bad decision making. So the motives behind drug and alcohol really come and stem from that pressure that's provided to them from being a role model in society. Stemming from here, we do have a brief review. So an elite athlete is recognised by the governing agencies. Role model is a person, behaviour, example, which in their success can be emulated by others, especially younger children. The arguments for a sports role model is their ability to affect society. So for charity, health promotion and exposure of the sport, they can do a lot of good being a role model. The arguments against being their behaviour, their actions, basically their belief that they don't need to be a role model can really hinder and really determine how they're seen from a social aspect. And then we have the utilitarian and Kantian view working off their decisions and their consequences of what they've been doing. Now, in conclusion, it can be seen that elite athletes that perform the duties and actions of a role model, not only on the field but also off the field, can have a large effect on society. So that's their health and well-being through the sports and schools initiative, the healthy eating initiatives. Athletes are placed under tremendous amounts of pressure, which in turn can cause their motives to change. So why do I have to be doing all of these things in society when it does not affect how I play my sport? Why would I go out and work with charities when all I could be doing is training to get better at what I do? Athletes are role models, whether they like it or not, due to their visibility and their influence. Now, influence stems from social media. They can go out, they can put anything on social media. An example of that is what Israel Folau has been saying about gay people, the gay community as well, posting online. He's not very remorseful about that. But when it comes to it, just something that he's put online has already damaged the look that he had. When it comes to it, their actions on or off the field, whether they want to be a role model or not, is not going to stop people, especially younger Australians with social media and the internet now, from looking at them as a role model. You could have somebody that's done all the bad things, turn their life around, they're still going to look at that. You could have somebody that's never done anything wrong in their entire life. As an example, Steve Smith, he's been an A-grade cricketer for years upon years, he's never done anything wrong, everybody had everything nice to say about him. Unfortunately, he's then made a bad decision, so he's used a Kantian approach, he's had a motive to do something to then prevail, to then push his team further, but unfortunately the outcome has not prevailed. So the outcome of him losing captaincy and a 12-month ban, weighing that from a Kantian utilitarian view, the sport is still the sport. You could have won any other way. The outcome did not. The outcome was not what was really needed. From that, he's created a poor social view, a poor role model view, from something that he wasn't even thinking, what if I do this, will this affect everybody else around me? Will this affect my fans? This is something to affect himself and his team. So looking from the outside in, sports stars are 24/7 role models, whether they like it or not. From there is have our reference list. Thank you.